All right, so welcome back, students. Today we're going to follow up our observational drawing lessons, and we're going to talk about structure while drawing. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at three different shapes today. We're going to look at, and they're all going to be three-dimensional shapes. We're going to look at the cube, we're going to look at a cone, and we're going to look at a cylinder. With these three shapes, you can use these to draw a lot of things three-dimensionally. They're the basis for many different things, and I'm just going to do a quick tutorial of how you can effectively draw these things, and then we'll follow that up. We'll probably be making some shapes, some three-dimensional shapes out of some thick paper that you're going to glue together. I'll include instructions for those. And then we'll actually draw them from observation. But for today, let's talk about structure. All right, so we're going to start off with the cone. And a lot of the terms I'm going to use are directly from geometry and math, because art and math often have very clear connection places. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by drawing a line straight up and down, okay? And then a perpendicular line to that. Now, perpendicular means that it's a 90-degree angle. So it is straight across and straight up and down. And if you need to fix your lines like I'm doing right now, that's totally fine. Take your time while you're setting it up. You can also use a ruler and be very precise with this if you want to use a ruler. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my ruler. I'm going to measure an inch here to the side for my cone, and I'm going to measure an inch here to the side for the other spot of my cone, and I'm going to draw straight up to the end to make a triangle. This ensures that it is the same on both sides. It's symmetrical. Okay? So this part is going to be the same as this part. Like so. Okay? And now, after that, what we're going to do to finish it, okay, because it's a three-dimensional thing, is we're going to make a oval called an ellipse down here. Okay? Now, here's the important part. When I'm making my ellipse, I'm going to mark it straight down in the middle, directly from that line. Okay, and then I'm going to figure out what the distance is. Okay, it's about looking like 5/8 of an inch. All right, oh no, 3/8 of an inch. It needs to be the same on both sides, just like our cone. So I mark both spots, and now my oval has to pass through that point, the point on the end, and remember it's an oval, so don't make it pointy here. It has to be round still as it passes through all four of those points. Okay? And then we have a cone. So the idea is that we're drawing these as if they were see-through. So this back line in real life, if I erase this out, make it a dotted line, we wouldn't actually see this line because it would be part of our cone. So that's the cone. Moving on, let's talk about the cylinder. Cylinder is very, very, very similar to the cone. Okay? Yet again, we are going to go ahead and start with a straight line, straight up and down. Okay? Do your best to make that straight. Line on the bottom, a line on the top. Okay? Yet again, we're going to measure, we're going to ensure that we get a distance we want here, okay? And obviously, I can tell right now, my line's a little off. I'm going to fix it before we continue. And that's going to happen to you too, okay? It is normal for us to be making mistakes at this point. But we fix them and we move on. Okay, so yet again, 90 degrees. And this is going to be a 90-degree angle. Now what we're going to do, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to measure out using my ruler and making an inch here on both sides. So it's the same. We want it to be symmetrical. It has to be for this to work. Okay. Same over here. I'm going to line up my 1 right in the middle. Mark at 2. Mark at 0. Okay. That's another way you can use your ruler effectively. And then we're going to draw lines straight down from our sides to finish our cone. Okay. Yet again, take your time with this. Use your ruler if you want to, or you can just practice drawing your straight lines with your pencil like this. All right. So now what we're going to do is an ellipse on both the bottom and the top because it's a cylinder. It looks like a tin can or a steel can, right? Okay. Yet again, we want our ellipse to be the same on both sides. Here. So I'm going to mark it the same on both sides. And yet again, from these points, we want to pass through them. Okay? And make an oval. Yet again, ovals are not pointy at the ends. When you get to the end, make sure it is round as it goes through. Okay? Yet again, we are drawing it as if it is see-through. Okay? This takes some practice to get right. So we've got that one. Now we're going to do the top. And do the same thing. I'm going to mark 2 points, same distance apart. And then as I make my oval, okay, pass through those points. We make them round on the edges so it looks realistic. Because yet again, ovals are not pointy. That's one of the most important parts of this. Okay, so there is our cylinder. Yet again, okay, real life, I'll put a dash mark here. Wouldn't see this line in real life, right? Be behind everything, behind that solid physical object. We would see the whole top. Okay, last one. Let's talk about a cube. Okay, cubes are super important when you think about drawing things like any human structures that you see. They use rectangles or rectangular prisms and cubes for everything. The cube is the basis for a lot of drawing things. It seems tricky, but it's not as bad as you think it is. Most important fact, make sure that when you start, your lines are completely vertical and horizontal. Okay, if they are diagonal in any way, it's going to look like your cube is leaning. So we're simply going to start by drawing a square. Any size works, doesn't really matter. Do your best to make it a decent square. Okay, put a point in each corner, so a little dot. Then what you're going to do is you're going to draw another square behind it. Doesn't matter where. It could be down here, it could be over here, it could be over here. This would be all about where you're viewing an actual cube from, where you're going to put the next one. So for now, I'm simply going to put mine floating here. Make it similar to the same size. You could even make it slightly smaller if you wanted to. But it can't be larger. It's going to create a very strange effect if you were to make the second square larger than the first. It'll actually look like it's not a cube, really. It looks like it'll be fatter as it's going away. Okay? Put your dots in the corners, yet again. Okay? Now, all you have to do is kind of connect the dots from corner to corner. So we're going to connect the same corner to each other. So I'm going to take my ruler and draw a straight line between these two. Between these two, yet again, it's the same corner. And it gives us a visual effect of a cube sitting there in front of us as we might see it. Okay? So there we go. That's our structure. Yet again, real life. I'm not going to see this line, or this line, because it'll be a solid object that you're not going to be able to see through. But those are some of the very basic structures for drawing. We can use these in so many different levels when we're drawing anything really, because when we're drawing, we're trying to imitate three-dimensional space on a flat two-dimensional piece of paper. And so we have to use some tricks in order to do this. Yet again, none of these are perfect. So I want to stress that to everybody. Try it. If you mess up, that's okay. Try it again until it starts to look right. My ellipses are not perfect. Yours won't be either. My squares are not perfect. It's okay for yours not to be. But you want to try and do your best and see if you can draw all three of these. All right, students, have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon.